morning, everyone. Hope you can hear me okay. And looks like the screen is up. So the first thing is, what is 4D Studio? It is a cloud-based application for creating, managing, publishing augmented reality experiences. I thought I would start with a little bit of an overview. We're going to actually go through a workflow for assembling Evolve. I won't bore you by going through all of the steps, but I will take you through one. And I'll also give you a bit of a sneak peek of something that we're working on and will be released soon. So to start, when you launch 4D Studio, you will land on the workflow. The workflow, the whole idea is to replace documents that workers would carry around in the field for maintenance, inspection. Instead, we would digitize and then make them available for viewing on a device. 4D Studio supports multiple form factors. So mobile, tablet, wearables, that is, the helmet will be coming up. Before I dive too deeply into project steps and tasks here, which make up a workflow, I'm just going to give you an overview of some of the other components that are available. The first thing you would want to do is assemble your team. And here I've added my talented team of loyal, hardworking wizards. With people, you can do roles and permissions. So you can assign them as an admin, who will also have certain privileges of adding other users. And you can also give them permissions. So I've set up 2 projects previously. And you can assign none, or write, or read for the projects based on each of the users. And you can add more users, through name, email. And this is for the end users who will view the projects on the end device, and also for users who you want to actually author in Studio as well. Once you've added some of your team members, you'll want to organize your assets. So in this case, there's Evolve with various parts. And I wanted to save some time, so I've uploaded them ahead of time into the library. The library supports sorting. You can sort on file name. You can sort on date added, the owner. And this is a little bit off the screen here. And you can also see if it's used in another project. And you can upload in batch format. So it's a simple drag and drop interface. It saves a lot of time. You can also add them in the designer one by one, but I much prefer to do them all as a batch. And as I mentioned, you can sort by file type. We support video, image, models, audio, PDF, and you can sort by users. Sort by users. And now let's go back to projects. So as I've mentioned, a workflow is composed of a project. Project is composed of steps, and a step is composed of tasks. You can add an unlimited number of steps and tasks. Here I've already set up one project. You can title it, give a description, put in where the end user should start, as detailed as you want. You can add images to provide the end user on the device more information. You can include documents. And then as well, you can tag the project at a global level. You can also tag it at a step and task level. And by this, I mean you can segment. So let's say you have a project which has similar steps except for one, based on a location or based on a person or based on a role. You can assign a tag. In this case, we did expert and novice. And in the near future, we'll make these configurable, so the admin can go in and make up their own tags and then assign them at the project level or step level. So as I mentioned, we have our project. In this case, we're going to disassemble a valve, a gate valve. Gate valve is composed of a number of tasks. The difference between a task and a step is the task is the thing that you want your end user to do, and the step is the aggregation of these tasks. So you can disassemble a valve, and there's a number of steps to go through that, or you can assemble a valve. And in this case, I've set up, we're just going to do one task. One thing I forgot to mention, so you can see there can be quite a list. If you've ordered them in a certain sequence and find they're out of order, you can reorder. And then once you publish, they will be in the correct order for the end user. So I'm going to go back into Designer. Something, so I need to save. It's giving me a warning. So now we'll go into Designer. Designer is WebGL based. It's using a 3JS framework. Right now, I previously saved this. You can see it's a, if you've worked in any sort of 3D packages, it should be familiar. We have some main components that you can use and assemble for your 4D experience. So images, video, sound. We're working on adding GUI buttons for your end device. And you can use shapes, some primitives, and text. And then we have your standard navigation elements. So for 3D, this should seem familiar. You have your different viewports. You have front, right, etc. And then over here, you have your scene. I've imported this valve as a, you can also lock your viewport. So in here, you can see I started in top mode. And then right-clicked to pan, and if I wanted to keep it in top mode, I would lock it, and then I wouldn't be able to do anything. So that's just for ease of assembling these experiences. In this case, the valve here was brought in as a grouped piece. You can see the various objects here in the scene panel. Here's the property panel. You can precisely move, transform, rotate, scale. You can change the color of any of the materials. You can add textures, which I've already done. And then we have a simple animation tool. The other nice thing is I'm just going to add a component here. When a component comes in at the origin as you would expect. In this case, it's a movie, and so there's a placeholder. Image. I've previously uploaded some movies. I will go to the library, pick my movie, and let me go to top view here so you can see. And then you can also preview the movie itself on the canvas. Same thing for images, for audio. We didn't hook up audio here, so I'm not going to be able to do that. The whole idea is you assemble your experience, and then you can see all the pieces. Let's see. So I want to delete everything here, and so I can show you. Actually, I will show you what we're going to build. It's pretty simple. So here's preview mode. Yep. Bring it down a little bit. So I animated this very simply. So let's delete our objects here. Delete that. So just to show you, it can be done very quickly. I'll import from the library. So we support a number of file types. We convert on the back end to object. I'm just going to rotate this a little bit so I can see it better. So I can select the objects through the viewport, or I can actually go here and select them through the screen. I'm sorry, the scene. It's a little bit easier. And in this case, I'm going to go in and add textures. And add another texture for the hand wheel here. And change the color on some of the nuts. This is just to add a little bit of realism and interest rather than just a simple white model. This is for the end user. Just going to go in quickly and add textures. Just keep it all. So now, if I want to animate, I'm going to close some of these here. The animation tool right now is simple. So what we're doing is just putting in some simple foundational tools. We're not trying to recreate SolidWorks or Photoshop or any of those other robust tools. But we want to put in just enough to be able to recreate workflows. So in this case, I'm going to select the hand wheel. And this is my animation tool. I'll hit start. And just like any simple animation, you add a keyframe, and this is where you start. And then I've raised it to the top, and because I also want it to spin, I'm not going to set a keyframe yet until I've added the rotation. Very simple. If you've used any kind of 3D, it's very similar. Now, stop, and then preview it. Oops, did something wrong there. I guess I will clear all, start it again. Sorry about that. I think we have a little slowness in the internet here. So I'll just add the keyframe. Stop. Let's see if it's going to play for me now. Yeah. So you can loop, you can ping pong, you can change the duration if you want something to go very slowly. can also change your grid size. You can snap the grid. You can scale, rotate, transform. So I think what I'm going to do is jump ahead a little bit to a sneak preview. We've been making some changes. This is an alpha that I'm going to show, so please bear with me on that. What we're aiming for is to give more power to the users, right? If we start building things component by component, it takes time. You're not going to hit most of the users, right? There's particular cases. So what we're adding in, as you can see, we've changed the look a little bit, tightened it up, given it a little bit more modern feel with transparency, icons, and we've added some previews here. So right now we're in canvas mode. As before, I showed you that you can add objects, images, movies, import models. You can also import a 3GS scene if you're working with a program that exports. But what we've added here is a script mode. So this will probably look familiar to you: HTML, CSS, JavaScript. The flavor of JavaScript used is 3JS. I asked one of the guys to put something simple together. We just cut and paste it into the editor here. You can also save any of the script that you add as a template, and then anyone who has access to the enterprise and to the project can reuse it. So in this case, what he's done is he's created a sphere generator, changed the colors, and then he's also added a button to show a movie from YouTube. And I'm going to go into preview mode in order to show this. And as you can see, we added a tablet frame. You can show portrait, landscape, and then in the future, when the helmet is ready, you'll be able to see a preview for the helmet. So he's created this simply by using the script editor, no components added. Go back into canvas mode. This is still in development. We have some tweaks we need to make. Like I said before, if you don't have scripters on your team, or if you have only one, they can create the scripts, cut and paste them into the editor, and then save them out as templates. We're also going to be creating some WYSIWYGs for non-coders. This is to add, let me see if it's going to come up here. This is to add interactivity. So you have your experience level, and then on top of that, we're adding a layer in order to interact with the objects in the scene. And in this case, we're starting with touch, or there will be another metaphor for the helmet. Adding scale and rotate, you can add your own script. Show and hide object, those are just simple. This is for non-coders, right? Just to give them, the content producers, a way to add interactivity without knowing how to script. And as time goes on, we'll add more and more. We just need more customer feedback as to what is actually needed. The other thing that we've added is a notification center. So there's lots of different pieces. All the pieces need something. So images, maybe you forgot to save a designer or you didn't upload a target. And you can see here I've got a warning that earlier yesterday when I was building this, I forgot to add the target. And it also tells you the things that you've done correctly. You can clear it all for each day that you want to start over. Trying to think of the other new elements here. Just some performance fixes and bugs, things like that we're doing. So this is really still in alpha stage. It's not available yet. I think he had one more piece. Show YouTube. So anyone who understands scripting enough can go in and swap out URLs, things like that. Anyway, that is Studio. Whoops. This is the current version that we're working on, and what you just saw was a sneak peek of what we're going to be releasing later this summer. I think that's all I had to show for a demo. Was there any questions or anything anyone wanted to see?
360 panoramic?
No 360, but yeah, who's to know what happens in the future? Yes.
Is it free for the users? Well, is the question, is it free? Is it free?
Can we get it free?
So the industrial version will be for sale. We're going to have some exciting announcements later this summer, so I would stay tuned.
So it's not available?
Not yet.
Don't you have a studio for download now?
Yeah, we have a marketing version of the studio, our storytelling that is available. Right now what we're focusing on is industrial. And industrial they share some components, but of course it's two different markets, and we'll start to divide more and more as time goes on.
Right here?
Yeah, what kind of 3D content, I'm sorry if I missed what you said, but what kind of 3D content can you bring in? What kind of formats do you?
Repeat the questions.
Yeah, so the question was what kind of content, what kind of 3D formats that we support. We support a number of 3D formats right now, and we continuously add based on requests. So some of the CAD programs can be very specific, and we actually do a conversion on the back end as well, so it takes a little bit of time to support, but I'm off the top of my head. Right now we convert everything to OBJ. We support .stl, .fbx, there's probably like 5 or 6 different formats that we support. And like I said, we continuously add more.
Do you mind me asking, do you have a conversion going on there? Is there any optimization built in? So that's one of the big factors.
There will be some interesting developments coming in the near future. So yes, we realize, especially for some of the form factors, that there needs to be a better user experience. You don't want people sitting there waiting for a half an hour for something to download. Yes?
When you say the markers, are you literally placing like eye beacons or your version of something like that? Or a
Not,
target?
not eye beacons, it's 2D images, it's based on target recognition.
Yes.
So the end device will scan the target, and if the target has been published, it will download whatever experiences have been associated with it, and then you build the experiences within the designer.
Okay.
Okay, do you support animation? And what format of animation do you support?
You mean baked-in animation? Not right now, yes.
Step through debugging?
I'm sorry, can you say it again?
Step through debugging?
Step 3D bugging?
Through debugging.
Ah, you mean for the script editor? That is something that we're looking at. We're actually eating our own dog food right now, so we're in the process of pounding on it. We're going to get some of our internals who are more of a scripter artist sorts to work on it and let us know the feature improvements that we should do. And I would imagine a robust debugging tool would be one of the things that they'll ask for.
Regarding the steps, how do you know when you can move to the next step? Is there like an API you can say move to the next step,
So
show the next animation?
So what you're looking at is the studio, right? And in the studio, you set them in order. Let me go back to something that had a lot of steps. So whatever order you have them in here will be the order they're displayed to the end user. You know, for the application, then it's at the app level that you'll have to add in, you know, finished, you know, next. I mean, simple app. I don't have the app hooked up. I didn't bring it with me today, but essentially everything that I publish here would be shown in an application for the device. I mean, for mobile or the tablet, and you know, you proceed to the step. You see all the tasks. You proceed through your task. You know, touch, click, and finish there. And like I mentioned, you can, if you find out that you've gone through all this work setting this up as the content producer, you can reorder your steps. But again, you have to publish, and then the end device needs to sync.
Any other questions? So I think we're good to wrap it up.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We're gonna end this session a little early. The dev session is gonna continue across the hall after the break, but let's have a hand for Katherine. Thank you.